Welcome, friends, to the Someone Gets Me podcast. I am your host, Dianne A, and I am so delighted that you're here. This podcast was created because I believe there is a visionary leader inside each one of us who is waiting to be seen. In each episode of Someone Gets Me, you will hear useful tips from successful visionaries who will share their stories about how being seen has allowed them to take their vision out into the world with action. The invisible tax of being the smartest person in the room. Friends, it's Dianne here at Someone Gets Me, and this episode hits me right square in the heart. I was thinking about different examples of corporate life, of business life for us gifted people, and it hit me when I was like, oh my, I remember walking through so many different work scenarios and different companies saying, is my name the default name, like the default printer, like Control Alt Default? And because it was always Dianne this, Dianne that, Dianne this, Dianne that, even when it was something not in my job description, even when it was something that I might have collateral information about. And sometimes it didn't even have anything to do with what I was doing, in whatever the company was. And so I think sometimes people who are gifted and neurodivergent can look like everything is great, be successful, got all your deadlines met, build rapport in the way that's important for your job, do all the things that are expected. But underneath, there's this quiet discontent or misery or upset. And that eventually turns into resentment, right? Because it's exhausting to be the smartest person in the room and to be that default person. Whatever happened to everyone carrying their share of whatever the responsibilities are? And I know that it slowly happens. I was working one place one time and I'm like, I'm not going to be the default name here. I'm not going to be it. And I'm like really focused on staying in my lane. And then a little bit over time, pretty soon, there it was again. The Dianne, even when it was something that many other people could have handled or taken care of, but somehow it came back to me. So I'm wondering if that's also happened to you, where you, whether you want to or not, become that default name, that person that everyone goes to. And I tell everybody when it comes to leadership, and that you can always tell the leader of a group, not by title necessarily, but you can tell the leader because that's the person that everyone goes to for information, understanding, explanation, support. And if you look around your work setting and whether you've got the title or not, everyone's coming to you, that means you're a leader in that group. And the question then becomes, is that where you want to be? And is that how everything is shaking out? And there's all kinds of dialogue around this. But the point is that there is an invisible tax to it. And here's the tax. We spend a lot emotionally. We have to look good while we're producing, while inside our energy sources are being depleted because we're being pulled in lots of directions or called into things that aren't necessarily ours to do. Now, though we can do them, and we're capable of doing them, and we might even want to help and do them, do you have the energy resources to do it, right? And where is going to be your recharge time? I have a friend of mine who's real gifted, and he works in a really amazing space, and he loves his job, but his family's suffering a little bit, and he knows it because he comes home and he has to recharge because it took everything out of him the whole day. And I know that's happened to me before too. I mean, I work in a very challenging industry for many, many years, dealing with chronic and persistent mental illness, and a substance abuse center for gifted people, right? It takes a lot out of you. And then pretty soon you realize that it's taking more out of your personal life, maybe than you want to. And that's the tax. So are you willing to pay that tax? Because the curse here is that the better you perform and the more you do, and the more you know, the more you get called on. So it starts that cycle, right? Where I know a little bit and then I get called on and then I know a little bit more. And then pretty soon you're the one offering the support. Now, I also want to caution you to not dragging other people we know into these scenarios. I I know that it's really easy to find the person who's in the know and go after them all the time and ask them all the questions. So sometimes a good question might be, does anybody else know the answer? Or can I find the answer and the support in another way? Because what's not accounted for, especially with neurodivergent leaders, is the invisible effort that it takes to continue to be social and give and take care of and solve problems, pay attention to accuracy and whether things are correct, and the whole idea of justice. There's a lot of internal, invisible energy being expended. And so often in a work environment, especially, that's not being accounted for. What people are paying attention to is the output or what's on the external. And that tax is that invisible energy, that investment that we're making into a situation that other people can't see, but we can feel it very, very deeply. Now, I'm wondering this. Are you one of those people who has a hard time asking for help? Now, seriously, are you a person that has a hard time asking for help? Many, many people have a hard time asking for help. A lot of people are givers and helpers, but when it comes to asking for help, it's hard. But the harder part for some people is actually receiving it, receiving support or help or a compliment even. So many people have difficulty with the receiving part of the exchange that they burn themselves out giving. That's backwards, it's misalignment, and it doesn't work. So our goal as a gifted neurodivergent leader, in order not pay extraordinary tax, is to understand the law of reciprocity, that as we give, we also receive. And so if we have a hard time receiving or asking for help and then receiving, if we have a hard time with that receiving, then we are keeping the whole system out of alignment. Our out of alignment affects everybody like a great mobile. So it matters that we learn as neurodivergent leaders to pay attention to our inner alignment and ensure the fact that we are learning how to receive as much as we are able to give. Now, most of the people that I work with in my work are great givers, and only a few of them have been the people who were the takers first, right? And so the lesson is a reciprocity of giving and receiving. Now, receiving is not the same as taking, right? Taking is when we actually go and we take energy from someone or we take something. Receiving means that I humbly allow you to offer support or help or guidance. So I receive it in a humble way. And humility means of the earth. So it means that I'm down to earth, I am open and receptive, and I allow myself to receive what is being offered. That's different than taking it. Taking it has a whole different energy to it. So we want to be aware of this reciprocity, and we want to release the idea that other people should already know. Now, I'm guilty of this one. I used to think all the time, well, the other people in my team or my work should already know what they need to do or should already know fill in the blank. And that's not true. And I catch myself going, they don't know what's in my mind. They can't see what I can see. And they don't already know. I was having a website designed some years ago, and I kept sending it back saying the left alignment, the left justification on the text was not correct. It was not lined up perfectly. And they kept saying, yes, it is. Yes, it is. I kept saying, no, it's not. I kept looking at it. It's not. And sure enough, they found where one of the lines was like a half a pixel off or some ridiculous thing, but I could see it. And so sometimes we have to not assume that all the other players in our team or our group can see what we can see. So it's about that reciprocity. I give information, I share what I see. I'm allowed myself to receive input and feedback and comments, and it goes back and forth and back and forth. That's the healthy way to do it. Now, that tax of being a neurodivergent leader comes when that gets misaligned, where we are giving much more than We are allowing ourselves to be filled up by receiving, whether it's receiving from others or from, meditation or exercise or something. And so it's not noble. It's just not noble to keep going and going and going and pushing yourself like you're a machine. Yes, you can do a lot, but the answer is not what can you do? It's what are you called to do? And if we stay ourselves true to the idea of what we're called to do, then what happens is we allow ourselves to receive support and help from others, right? That are called to do the other things that complement and go with our vision or our work so that everything can come together. That whole interdependence, right? Interdependence is a sign of an adult who has got a level of wisdom and a level of authority and sovereignty in who they are. That's different than being independent. That's being more like a teenager. And gifted people tend to get stuck there sometimes. And the culture is stuck there right now. And so what we want to do is we want to get to interdependence where we know what we have to offer and we don't offer it too quickly. But we also receive and understand and honor what other people have to offer. Like I am really good at certain things and other things I can do, but I'm not all that great at it. I can do it, but I know people who are better at it than I am, just like I'm better at some things than those other people are, because that's the nature of interdependence and the beauty of gifted neurodivergent leadership is because we all are bringing something amazing to the table, and there's different flavors and different ways and different textures and sounds and it smells. It's beautiful when you allow that soup to come together, right? I did an interview with a woman from England a while ago, and we were talking about all the different things we can blend in tea. You can start with white tea or green tea or black tea, red tea, but then it's all the infused scents and flowers and berries and things that make each tea its own sacred beauty, right? To enjoy. So you want to enjoy your work, you want to enjoy your life by allowing the law of reciprocity to lower the tax that you're paying. Because as a gifted person, as a neurodivergent person, you are already paying an inner tax, an invisible tax in energy and time and a mental thinking and obsession sometimes, and being able to see things other people can't see yet and having to patiently wait for them to see it. That takes energy. So what are you doing to take care of yourself? What are you doing to replenish your emotions? Because if you don't replenish your emotions, you end up resentful and you end up maybe upset, or you end up fearful, or worse, you end up chronically exhausted. It's a fatigue level that's on the inside that is not describable. It's heavy and it doesn't feel good. I have felt it more than once in my life. And then I look around and go, there you go again, giving more than you're allowing yourself to receive. Because sometimes we just get on a roll and we're not really paying attention. So we are all works in progress. All gifted neurodivergent people have some kind of tax we're paying, right? Some kind of tax we're paying. So what are we doing? What are we doing to lower the tax? What are we doing to allow ourselves to receive? And what are we doing to nurture and care for our own identity, our own beingness? What are we doing? Those are very valuable questions. Because, see, there's a lot of invisible things happening. There's invisible responsibilities. There's invisible feelings and emotions and ideas about relationships and processes and data points and things like that, that many people in the world are not even cued into, but yet we feel it or see it very, very deeply. And so just the fact that we're engaging in something, we are paying an energy tax of some level. So our question for all of us gifted leaders is, what are we doing to charge our battery? What are we doing to consciously charge our batteries so that we can stand in alignment and we can live that law of reciprocity as a leader in a way that's meaningful and productive and very satisfying? So as always, friends, feel free to schedule a get to know you call with me if you have any questions about this episode or any of my work at all, or any of my 10 books. That's totally cool. I do 30 minutes. It's complimentary and it is for you. This whole podcast is in service, and I want you to know that it is okay to reach out to me by email or by making a call or whatever it takes in order for you to be heard and feel heard. It is my pleasure and my honor to be here for you. If you have any topic requests, please let me know. We have a really great interview coming up after this show, and then some more about gifted people in the workplace. And anyway, so I just want you to know that you are wonderful. You are somebody who is meant to be here and do something amazing. So remember, friends, put your face to the sun so the shadows fall behind you, because you're a rock star. You're here on purpose with a mighty purpose. So go out there and let your light shine and see what great, amazing things you can experience and receive. Until the next episode of Someone Gets Me, this is Dianne saying, be well. Thank you for listening. I trust you gained some valuable inspiration and information. Please join me and other visionaries in the Someone Gets Me Facebook group. Or for more information on my services and additional episode's, visit someonegetsme.com. Again, thanks for listening.